You're listening to Popstar Conversations, taking you inside with your favorite musical artists.
This week, Randy and I are talking with one of the biggest pop stars on the planet, Miley Cyrus. Miley, welcome to our show.
Thank you very much for coming on the show.
This album, to me, it reads like a movie. Was that your ultimate goal?
Yeah, that's what I've been saying the whole time, was that this record is like a movie. You must have done your research. Wow, because I think it needs to be like how in a movie you have to, like in the beginning, you want people to like understand the characters. You want people to like fall in love with the characters. So that's what I want on like the beginning of my record. People kind of like understanding like my story, who I am kind of. And then you got to go through all the craziness of where it's like the ups and downs in the movie and like the suspense. And then at some point you want to get to the tears, which is what Wrecking Ball is. And, Drive and Adore You, like getting people to that point where they like, you know, just want that like happy ending, and then the rest of the record's kind of like a party track, like getting to that space. So it really is kind of like a movie in that way. I want everything to feel that way. Even that's why I did my music video the way I did. I want everything to be like a big event and kind of like represent who I am as like a person and like my life and like how I've like changed, but how also you just see like that I'm just like having fun, like nothing's too overthought or too over planned.
Well, instead of doing interviews all day long, people should just listen to the record.
I know, that's what I'm trying to tell them. I'm trying to tell them no interviews, just listen to the album, but they don't listen to me. They say it doesn't work like that.
Miley, there's quite a contrast between the good and the bad girl image. Is that intentional, or is that you just having a little bit of fun?
Yeah, it's just having fun. I mean, everyone likes to think that I think it's so like overcalculated, or someone like taught me how to like transition myself. Like everyone just grows up and then you reflect that, like your music changes, you know, and that's influenced like by how what I listen to changes, your style changes, like everything just changes naturally. And then I think people like to think that someone like reprogrammed me and turned me into someone else, but it's just like you grow.
And you've grown up from that Disney artist.
Yeah. And a lot of that is like I just have a lot of freedom. Like I have an awesome label. I have an awesome team that like allows me to be really free. My team understands the beginning of that was kind of the Can't Stop video was like, okay, everyone, let me just be free on this one. And if it doesn't work out, you never have to trust me again. But if it goes crazy, you have to like always know that I'm like kind of ahead of the game. I know what people want to see. And so since that was so successful, we're almost to 100 million. We got to get that too. That's another thing we got to do. 13 million, then 100 million on my video. And once it gets to 100 million, we might even put out like a crazier edit, like a director's cut. So there's another carrot. So I'm trying to like, you know, I wanted people to see kind of, I think, where the music industry is going. I think people are sick of seeing things so staged and like overly choreographed and overstyled. Like people just want to see people's real colors, like having fun and like being young.
Basically, you just want to be yourself.
Yeah, what an artist is supposed to be. An artist is supposed to like tell stories about themselves, and like people are supposed to know artists. I think there's a point, like I kind of keep myself mysterious because I want people to like want to listen to my record, but also keep like that distance, because that's kind of what being in my position is people kind of not understanding like I feel like me, and no one can kind of understand like when I'm writing about being on the road or writing about like being gone for this long and being like kind of lonely, but I write songs where I make them relate to people. Like even though I'm writing about my life that very few people can kind of relate to, I turn it where I can make people relate to it. I try to tell like a simpler story, but just be inspired by my life.
Your songs seem to be relating to the normal day lives of your audience.
It's all normal. Exactly. That's why Wrecking Ball, I'm like, that's a song that everyone's felt at some point. Everyone's had their heart broken like that. You know, everyone, especially I feel like you don't have to be from like the South to like country music. And so I wanted even like 4x4, like I wanted to kind of have that like Nashville vibe, which it's been amazing hearing Pharrell being played so much in London, Germany, even in the Bahamas. That song was following me around. I think it's because his music doesn't get stuck to one genre or like one, like his music is just like classic. Like it's just, he's just cool. So that's kind of why I wanted to have him on my record.
I have to tell you, Pharrell and you really seem to collaborate really well as a producer and artist.
Yeah, because but I think it's because also him and I have like a special bond, like that he's like my kind of like a brother. So you know how brothers and sisters are, like sometimes you're like this, but it's because it's like you care about each other and you love each other so much and like you bring the best out of each other. And so he gets like stories out of me that like I just get to talk to him and like tell him, and he's inspired by my life constantly because we're so in check with each other. He's like one of my favorite people to work with just because it feels like, for me, I'm such a family person. So I like when things feel like family rather than feeling like work. I don't like when the studio feels like work. It shouldn't. It's such an easy job. It's such a fun thing. People shouldn't make it too hard.
And you're making a great living, enjoying what you do.
I know. Isn't that amazing? See, I always say I don't get paid to go to the studio, and I don't get paid to like go on tour. I get paid to deal with like paparazzi on the day to day, and I get paid to sit in like one room in an amazing city and not even get to see the city. So I'm like, that's where the hard work comes in. All the other stuff is the fun bit. There's just a few parts that are hard work.
So is your single "We Can't Stop"? Is that wishful thinking on your part?
No, that's like my life.
Why so?
I feel like it's the best kind of like way I've been able to talk about my record, because people always like, you're everywhere right now. Like you literally seem like you can't stop. I'm like, it's the title track of my new record, you know? So I feel like my life really is reflecting my single, and even the music video. I wanted people to feel like they look at that and it seems like really like a real party that I'm at, rather than it looking like what kind of some director puts together, or it seems like people aren't really having fun, or it's just like typical LA people. I wanted it to be people that are really unique and like reflect like my friends and my life.
And your other single, 4x4, the collaboration you did with Nelly, is that like R&B goes country or vice versa?
Yeah, I wanted to have him on the record because I was really inspired by Country Grammar, what Pharrell did with him on Country Grammar, because I feel like it was representing even what he does with right now. He's got, you know, with a song out with Georgia Flatline, and he does a lot of cool like different records where he kind of mixes like urban music and country. So I was like really inspired by that. So I felt like I had to have him on 4x4 because he kind of inspired that song.
There is a line in 4x4. A little bit of dirt never hurt anybody. Now I've got dirt all over my...
Oh, I like hearing you say it.
I'm sure that it gets quoted in every interview, doesn't it?
We like hearing you say it. I haven't heard anyone else say it. That's good. I like hearing it in your accent.
You also have a single that you recorded with Mary J. Blige and Tyler, the Creator, as well, didn't you?
I wrote it. She wrote on that one with me, and that one I'm gonna save, I think, probably for my next record. I didn't end up putting on this record because it's kind of more of like an R&B vibe, and on my next record I want to be able to make something a little more kind of R&B, like in the way it's a little less like kind of how Can't Stop is like the tone of it. It's like a dance song, but it doesn't really have like that typical dance beat. In my next record, that's what I want to do. But working with her and working with Tyler was like so cool, and having them with Pharrell, that's like just a crazy mix, all of us together.
So you're obviously already thinking about your next album.
Yeah, I know. My team's like, you gotta get people to like the first one first. I'm like, I know, but my second one, I have a completely different vision of what my second one's gonna be.
Are you taking time off from my acting now and focusing on your music?
Yeah, exactly. There's too much. That's too much. I feel like then I can't focus on like what I actually love, and that's too much work. I've worked too hard as a kid. I'm ready to just have like fun now.
Miley, you were quoted as saying that this album reflects musical tastes of the entire family. Where's your mom's heavy metal then?
That's the heavy metal is, my mom is like stuck in the 80s. So if you met my mom, and everyone knows that's very true. She's stuck in the 80s. And then my older brother is tattooed from eyes down. So he's like, him and I used to have Metallica posters on our wall because my little brother was scared of Metallica. So we put him all by his bed or like put him on the ceiling. So when he would look up, he would have to stare at like creepy Metallica posters. We were like the mean older brother and sister because I was the middle child. So I was just trying to get attention. So me and my brother did that. And then my dad like just influenced me with country music, and my little brother is kind of like, he's on some alternative like different kind of style, so he inspires me too, like songs like Adore You, kind of like a different vibe for that too.
So the inspiration came from your family.
Yeah, exactly. Inspired by all of them. It's kind of like, it's like what makes you who you are, you know, what I grew up watching and listening to, and what I was kind of like inspired by artists. My dad loves female singers. My dad always like grew up listening to Joan Jett and to Stevie Nicks and like Eva Cassidy. He made me listen to every day I would go to work. We would listen to Eva Cassidy or Beth Hart. So like I was just always influenced by female artists because my dad loves singers, girl singers.
Is there anybody out there that you'd love to work with?
I kind of got my dream people. I kind of like got to work with everyone. My most important was being able to work with Pharrell, because I'm just so happy to be a part of this like next part of his life too. Like as much as it's a transition for me, it's a transition for him. So I'm happy to have him on the record. And it was before Blurred Lines and Daft Punk, so everyone was kind of like, they were unsure about it at first. They were like, we don't know what he's doing, what he's been up to, for the past few years. We don't know like what his next sound is going to be, because he's one that's so classic. He's not about just like coming up with what it sounds like what's on the radio right now. So he's kind of like, they thought I was taking some kind of risk, but I knew what was going to happen. I knew what he was doing with Robin Thicke and what he's been doing with Tyler, the Creator. I just think he's on like some next level. He's internationally what he is, because like I said, his music doesn't get stuck into one place or one genre the way that kind of hip hop does. It kind of like lends itself to LA, or that super dance kind of is more like UK. Like his music kind of just goes everywhere in the world.
Miley, it was great having you here. Thank you.
It was truly a pleasure.
Thank you again for listening to Popstar Conversations. Be sure to click the subscribe button below and hit the red bell so that you'll be notified of our next exclusive interview. Thank you again for listening.
Thank you for listening to Popstar Conversations. Please join us again for another conversation with your favorite musical artist.